What's up, guys? Welcome back to Kryptonite, because I believe that cryptocurrency and the blockchain are the kryptonite of our modern financial system. And I love it, and we need it bad. Guys, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. The trading day today was a complete, utter disaster. Now, it wasn't the worst trading disaster day I've ever had. I've definitely had much worse trading disaster days. But as far as over the last couple of months and how I've been doing, this was a absolute complete disaster. Again, according to my newer standards, I have a little bit of newer standards of how I should be performing as a trader, and this was terrible. This was not account blowing terrible. Again, I did use proper risk management, so I did not blow my account. That is very important. You have to survive days like these. I have survived. I've taken a deep breath. I've thought things through. And of course, we're going to now try something different. We're going to learn from our mistakes so that way we can grow. So this was definitely a tough day as a trader. It's one of those days that makes you wonder, should I be doing this? Should I just give this up? Like literally one of those days that makes you just question, why am I even doing this? Like, you know what I mean? I'm sure if you are a trader out there, you've experienced those days where you just are like, can I even do this? Like, what? You know? So it's just kind of the way it goes. It's one of those things that, you know, you have a couple bad days and you're like, did I just like lose my ability to trade? Like, what's going on here? So we're going to try to figure out what I did wrong so that we can learn from those mistakes. So real quick though, before I get into my trades, I usually cover that towards later on in my videos. Let's just start off with Mr. Bitcoin. And as you can see, I have here this little area in blue as my kind of absolute bottom price target, which aligns with some previous, actually I have a better chart that kind of shows it. Hey, look, the bottom, right? I think this is the absolute bottom. Again, we have a previous high here. And if you look on the monthly, we had our candle closes, right? Not the tips. I know the points are important. And this could be the bottom here. This very well could be the bottom. And we'll go into that a little bit later. But if we do drop further, I do think these candle closes combined with this previous high, combined with the timing, because by the time this pattern sort of crescendos at the bottom here, we'll be nearing November, which is kind of, in terms of the cycles, that is kind of the time for Bitcoin to bottom in November. So kind of perfectly would, you know, the pattern would really start to crescendo right about November. And that's when, you know, we get a break and we start the bull market, right? But I do believe we have some more pain in the short term as the Fed continues to increase interest rates to rein in inflation. But we'll see how long they're able to do that before things get bad. As we can see in Europe with the energy crisis, they're doing all these relief bills, which you know is just basically more money printing to help people out who are, you know, struggling to pay bills now because the energy prices are out of control. But all this really does is give them temporary relief with that cash. But then again, that cash enters circulation. It increases the overall circulation. And everybody down the road is now affected even worse. And now their buying power drops even more. And if they haven't got raises or they haven't, you know, if they're not invested in assets that go up over time, then basically they're going to become poorer and poorer, thus relying on the government more and more and more, which is kind of the cycle that I think these governments want us in. They want to conserve their power, and if you inflate the dollar, and if you inflate the euro, whatever it is, whatever currency, Turkey has like 80% inflation right now, then eventually people have no choice but to rely on the government to survive because their buying power is gone in the market. It just disappears. And the very rich who own a lot of assets will just get richer and the poor get poorer. So that is the unfortunate. Inflation is basically a way to extract wealth from the middle class and siphon it towards the very, very rich, thus putting middle class people, now classified as poor people, And then you basically have this class system where you've got ultra rich and ultra poor. And that is kind of what we're moving towards as the, supply of currencies continue to get inflated like crazy. This is what happens. You basically liquidate the middle class, and you have a few rich people that own pretty much everything. And then you have 95% of everyone else who's poor and has to get stipends from the government to survive, and or rent from the rich people who own all the homes and will own all the homes and will own pretty much your devices, will own. I mean, we're moving towards a system in which everything is subscription based. Even your phone is going to become subscription based, to where you won't literally own anything. You will literally have to rent everything from other people. So that is what Bitcoin solves, guys. It is better money. It is money that is outside of state, that is worldwide, that cannot be contained. And this is exactly what we need to defend ourselves against this system that's developing that will liquidate the middle class. We need Bitcoin. Bitcoin, hopefully, if it continues to be adopted worldwide, will literally save the middle class. It will literally keep people from just getting their wealth liquidated due to inflation. So let's again, not a financial advisor, it's not financial advice. Do your own research. This is for entertainment purposes only, but I am buying Bitcoin. I will continue to buy Bitcoin probably every week at this point. I'm going to buy some. I'll start the DCA strategy, and I might buy a little small coins here or there, little ADA, little Ethereum. Definitely trying to trade the merge. But anyway, guys, that's just my little rant to start the show that I usually do. So that's the monthly for you, and I'm going to jump over to a different chart, which kind of has things drawn a little bit more. This is the weekly. As you can see, we are in this nice weekly falling wedge. Looks pretty beautiful for the most part. And we are unfortunately not able to get our bear flag up to hit the top target here. However, we are potentially making a bit of a double bottom, in which case maybe we do come up and we do finally break. And this was the bottom, right? That's scenario number one. Scenario number one, we come down, we get this double bottom where we either, come down again to our previous low here at 17,684, or we stop right where we are and kind of have a little, and then, bust up, and then we create this W pattern that we break, and then we're off to the races. That is scenario one. That could very well play out. I would not be surprised at all by that, which is why I bought some more Bitcoin under 19,000. And if we drop under 18, I'll buy some more. But then scenario two is, of course, maybe we just get a little relief rally, come up, hit here, come down to my bottom target. And there's honestly not a lot of volume after this low. So if we do drop below our previous low, we will dump very quickly. We will dump very quickly, which is why it makes more sense for it to kind of either rally up a little bit or kind of go sideways to get to here. So that way when it does dump, if it dumps, then it has a lot more room to dump straight down, as opposed to, if it tried to dump right here, it would hit support here around 16,000. But if it putzes around, maybe has a little mini rally, hits this resistance, then dumps down, then we've got, it kind of makes more sense, because then we've got the bottom of our wedge combined with our previous highs here, and candle closes around 14,000, and then maybe that's where we bounce around and then bust out. That is, to me, is scenario number two. I don't see, those are the only two scenarios I personally see. Well, scenario three would be, again, I said that. Scenario one is the W pattern breakout. Scenario two is the rally, rejection, support, putts around. So those are my two scenarios that I think could play out. So we don't know which one's going to happen. We need to be prepared for both, which is why, again, I'm pretty much buying Bitcoin all in this range. And even if we get here, I'll probably start to go almost all in this range here, anywhere from 11 to about 14. I will be putting in as much as I possibly can without obviously compromising bills that need to be paid and such. So again, not financial advice. You got to do what you want to do. But I still think Bitcoin is the best crypto. everything else can be altered to some extent. I think ADA is working towards being really decentralized to where they do require a lot of the community who run all the nodes to be able to make a change. And so I like that. Ethereum's kind of that way right now, but I think they're kind of growing more centralized based on kind of how many players basically hold all the ETH for the proof of stake. It's not very many, so I think they are more centralized. Oh, we're getting a buy call on US 30. Let's go check it out. What's going on here? Oh no, we're getting a sell call on US 30. Oh boy. Oh boy. All right. Well, let's not get distracted here. Let's continue with Bitcoin. Now, we did get some bullish divergences developing here at this support range that we're currently at that I have drawn here. As you can see, we had multiple previous touches here, and we're getting a nice support bounce right here, a little doji candle, and then a nice green candle. However, we are getting rejected right now at the 382 and this trend line, because if we draw a Fibonacci from, I believe I had it like so. No, I think I had it a little lower. I had it on this candle. We are right at the 382 retracement level. So, and we did have this previous kind of falling wedge here, but it's pretty much been invalidated at this point. Although we did kind of retest the bottom of it, but I don't really know. I don't think this is all too valid anymore. It can still be a kind of a trend line that you can watch and trade off of. Like obviously it still is an important trend line because we held it there and we got support there. So I think you can leave it on your charts as like a, hey, you know, if we hit this point, maybe I can get a scalp buy off of it, right? But we are looking like we are getting a nice rejection from the 382. And this correlates exactly to the DXY here, which I'm going to bump it out to the hourly. So on the DXY, we have been in this falling wedge, rising wedge, and we got our nice pump pretty much yesterday from this drop in the DXY because we hit the top range. We kind of double topped here, had some bearish divergences, and then that's when we saw that pump and that support around Bitcoin. Broke under this falling wedge, retested it, which would be pretty bearish, except for one thing that we don't want to miss, and that is the 200 moving average on the hour, which has time and time again supported the DXY. So yes, we broke out of this rising wedge here and retested it, which is bearish. But if we get supported by the 200 and then just continues on, because for those that know, we are in a longer term channel that is very upward. And so we haven't reached the top of this channel. And we also have strong support here in the middle range of the channel. You typically get some support. So even if we do drop further, we could get support at the middle of the channel, and then, or we could see it come back up and still retest the top of the channel. We just don't know exactly what it's going to do. Maybe we get sort of a retracement like this, and then it goes up, touches the top. So maybe some short-term bearish pressure on asset prices, but again, watching that 200 there, we could be getting some support here. So we'll see if our Heiken Ashi makes a little switch or if we continue. Now, I mean, the fact that we retested that wedge and broke down, I mean, that's pretty good indication of, you know, some more downward momentum, but then we immediately make basically a double bottom with a hammer candle. So we might just end up breaking right back in to our wedge here. And it might have just been almost like what we had here was just sort of a fake out W or M in this case, and this just broke out and then a W back in. So it might have just been a little fake out just to get people a little bit bullish, and then, you know, dump the prices as usual. All right, let's take a look at let's see, do we want to cover any more thing on Bitcoin? I mean, we pretty much have the main points here. This is a really short time. This is a 15-minute time frame, right? This is where we got our bounce. Talked about my trades yesterday. I mistimed the bottom here, and then on this trade, but I did catch a short right there. So here is where the disaster occurred here. I think I have it on maybe a different chart, closer up. Where is it? Oh, there we are, getting some. I thought I had it on here. Okay, so this is the disaster scenario here, and I think it had a lot to do with I have not gotten very much sleep the last couple of days because I've been trying to sort of alter my sleep schedule. I think this was sort of maybe the catalyst that led to this sort of really terrible day. So essentially, before all this price action happened, get down there, I had this red line drawn a lot. Jeez Louise, I'm getting all sorts of signals on everything. Jeez Louise. Wow. We're getting hard cell signals on a lot of things right now. Anyway, let's not focus on that at the moment. My trades, my terrible disaster trades. You want to hear about them? Okay. So before I had my red line drawn a lot more along these tops here. And so we had perfectly come to, and you'll see this better on this chart. So again, I had these lines drawn a lot more. Here we go, right here. So we could come up to, actually I think I had it drawn at that point more like that. Yeah, I had it drawn like this. So we come up to the top of this channel, get this nice red hammer candle. We're oversold on the stochastic, both the hour and the 15. I believe we had some other factors as well. We had a divergence as well, which is usually like, those are all kind of go signs for we're going to continue the pattern. So I took a short position right here. Only thing I think I could have done differently is wait for a follow through candle right here to kind of really confirm that hammer reversal. So that, as you can see, got stopped out. Then we have this candle here with this big wick that immediately gets rejected right back down into the pattern. And so in my head, I'm thinking, oh, this must have been just a liquidity grab, right? We have this often where you see a common resistance or support line, and then market makers pump the price to sort of trap breakout traders, knock out anyone's stop losses, aka mine, and then immediately, very quickly, dump the price back in the pattern. So I thought, okay, great. I'll take the liquidity grab then. That's fine. So I took another short position, which then immediately pumped up and got stopped out yet again. So then this is where it was definitely like an emotional thing that kind of messed me up. But where is it? Because I actually won the next trade technically, but I was emotional, and in that emotional state, I actually ended up basically not taking profit. So on the third attempt, I was like, all right, you know what? I'm not going to give up my bias. I still think we're going down. So I took a third short position that I won. Guys, we came down and we hit my level perfectly. However, because I had experienced 2 losses, I was feeling very greedy and upset, and I wanted a bigger profit to try to make back what I had lost. So I did not take profit here, and then it immediately pumped back up. So I literally lost 3 trades in a row because of just sort of revenge, anger, sort of emotion. Just sort of the enemy of the trader is that kind of emotion. And I gave into that emotion. I was sleep deprived, angry. I got other things going on in my life as well that aren't always going too spectacular. So, there's a lot involved with trading that's emotional. So if I would have just taken profit there, I still would have been down on the day, but I would have been down less. But I just got too revengey. I just was mad. I wanted higher, profit there. Failed to take profit, even though it was a winning position. So I took the rest of the day off. I went and did some Instacart because I just needed to get my mind off of the charts and kind of take a break. So have to sort of reset, reconvene, try to figure out, going forward, how we can avoid these kind of. So one of the things I'm going to do is I'm going to be getting more sleep, and I'm going to probably not be doing much trading until my sleep schedule is kind of more where I want it to be, and I'm getting consistent sleep, because it just kind of puts me more in that state where I'm easily put into that flight or fight kind of state of mind. And that is just not a place you want to be as a trader. So those are my disaster trades, guys. So as you can see right now, as far as the Bitcoin price, my computer's getting a little slow here. Again, we are getting some support here. So again, I would wait until we break back into this wedge. And if we do break back into the wedge and we also break above this point here, that would make a W pattern, which would then send us probably higher in the DXY. So if that happens, then asset prices will probably dump down further. So it might be something to keep an eye on. That is all for tonight, guys. As always, make sure to save your money, grow your money. I'll buy some Bitcoin because, you know, we know that fiat currency is, well, it's a meme coin. It's going to get printed to oblivion. So protect yourself with assets, real estate, stocks, Bitcoin. All right, guys. See you guys on the next one.